So. What is up, CSBA? What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the stream. This is the National Championship pregame show. We got a cast of characters here. Our regulars, Dalton. What's up, Dalton? C-Web. What's up, Aaron? What's up, fellas?
It's popping, man. It's championship day. How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I can't believe we're finally here. What's going on, guys?
I mean, yeah, excited to get to the championship game. This is a heck of a matchup between Illinois and Miami. Illinois, obviously the underdog coming in, but they've been getting it done all season.
Especially here in March Madness, a couple of really big upsets that have led them to this point. A lot of times where you kind of expected Illinois to kind of be caught on the back foot, but they've delivered pretty much every time they've come across a team like that.
Yeah, let's just talk real quickly before we jump into tonight's game, and then obviously a surprise that I have for the community to talk a little bit about that. But let's just talk a little bit about the Final Four, two Final Four games. Give me a little bit of your. We'll go round robin here, Dalton, C-Web, and then Aaron really quickly. Dalton, we saw both games ended up being a little bit of a blowout. I think a lot of people weren't expecting the results that we saw. But what was your take on those two games that we got to see on Monday night?
I mean, it really looked like two teams that knew exactly what they wanted from the get-go. It looked like you mentioned it. I mean, neither of the games were close, and they ended in blowout fashion. So, I mean, both of these teams came in prepared. Miami and Illinois, I mean, they really got the job done. Didn't really give any room for the opposition to even have a chance. So, I mean, it looked like two seasoned teams. I know Illinois, on paper, at least this season, did not look as some would say up to par, as 11-2 records, 10-3, stuff like that. But they look like one of the best teams, and they've proven it in tournament. So it's not. I would say it's a shocker, but it's really not, because I mean any two of the four could have really came out and done what these two teams did. But big shout out to Illinois and everybody there that did their homework, and likewise to Miami. Even though they were blowouts, they were fun games to watch. So.
C-Web and Aaron, I'll throw this question to you guys. Did you see Iowa or or Texas Tech kind of going out the way they did? I mean, did you guys? I mean, I know you guys when we did the pregame show, you guys were on. I think you both all, if I remember correctly, I'm just trying to look back at my notes. You guys were all picking. I think we had it was a split decision on the Iowa-Miami game, but I think everybody was leaning Texas Tech in the Illinois Texas Tech game. So what's your just real quickly, C-Web and Aaron, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, Illinois did a great job against Texas Tech. You know, I was definitely harping on that Tech defense. I admit that, but Illinois found a way to solve it, and you know that should be the thing that's scaring Miami the most tonight if they're looking forward. Iowa definitely didn't see them going out the way they did. You know, Connor put in a great game plan. They played phenomenal D and just shut the Hawkeyes down entirely.
Yeah, for sure. Aaron, what about your take? What's your thoughts on the two Final Four games?
Yeah, I definitely didn't see Texas Tech going out the way they did. I know that I definitely thought Illinois had it in them to beat Tech, but not necessarily in the fashion that they did a few nights ago. I expected more of what we saw in the first quarter of Iowa-Miami to kind of continue throughout around that game, but it just never appeared.
Yeah, and you know the only reason I brought those games up is because I think going into this game tonight, I think if you look at our community, and obviously I didn't look at who picked who, I didn't even see if PAX put up the pick 'em, but I will say going into this game, I feel like Miami is the heavy favorite, but I think we could have said the same thing going into the Final Four games where the results went completely the other way. So obviously the sim aspect of it is important. You know, we hope for the best sim possible. We hope for an exciting game, but at the same time, you know, when you look at this overall, you also have to take into what the coaches put in from a game plan perspective. So it'll be interesting to see this game here tonight. Does Illinois have what it takes to bring home a natty? Or, you know, I mean, I've talked to both coaches at some point during the day. Both coaches are actually very nervous. I think they both feel a little bit worried coming into this game, and I think that's a great feeling to have if we're all, you know, as we all look forward to this game. So that's the only reason why I wanted to bring that up. Before we jump in to the actual games, and we'll go through that here momentarily, let's talk a little bit about 3 surprises that I have for the community tonight. We're releasing, there'll be 15 new arcs in Season 8 coming. So Connor, GFC Connor, our Miami coach, is working on that. We're going to be doing some testing in the off-season on those arcs to make sure they're all up and running and good to go. We're going to have 3 new arcs at each position. And overall, with the new arcs looking to fill niches and gaps that we can see while not taking too much away from the arcs that we already currently have. So I'm gonna show those, at least 3 of those. I'm gonna showcase 3 of those here tonight because we have about 100 people in the stream, and I think it would be kind of cool really quickly to get everybody's take on that. So let's take a look at the first one of the 3 new arcs that we're releasing here tonight, and that's going to be DeMar DeRozan. The primary idea here is that it's a taller point guard that can shoot and play make. He's a great pick and roll threat as he pressures the defense with his shooting and passing. But guys, what's your thoughts real quickly? Just go around the room. What do you think about DeMar DeRozan?
I mean, if it's my fault.
Yeah, Dalton, you go first. We'll go around in order. So this.
I mean, if it's anything like DeMar DeRozan in real life, I mean, it's gonna be the deadliest mid-range shooter in the CSBA if anybody chooses archetype. So I'm excited.
C-Web?
Yeah, definitely excited to see this. A little bit taller point guard. That's something that's good for us coaches that like to run heavy backcourt systems. So excited for that.
And what about you, Aaron? What's your thoughts here?
I just wanted to confirm that this is going to be a point guard arc because the graphic shows.
Oh, my bad. Did I say point guard? Sorry. DeRozan is a small forward. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting. It'll add a lot more depth, I think, that at the moment is kind of missing at the small forward, because right now we'll typically see a lot of like perimeter point guards and shooting guards that typically get a lot of use.
Yeah,
or a lot of centers and power forwards getting work down low. So having an offensive threat at small forward, I think a lot of coaches are going to like.
Yeah, and I apologize. I had a script. I read the wrong one out of order. So DeRozan, a small forward who can play up or down as a primary scorer for his team. Surround him with shooting and watch him get to work. Likely an efficient, tough shot maker compared to most players. Is kind of a little bit of the little bit of scouting report on him. I'm excited. I think that the small forward position, it'll be exciting. We've got some good arcs at that position, but I think we need to see even something more. And DeRozan is a star in his own right. I jumped ahead. I'm going to jump ahead to him since I already kind of read the description, and that is going to be LaMelo Ball. So LaMelo Ball, again, primary idea as a taller point guard that can shoot and play make. Great pick and roll threat as he pressures the defense with his shooting and passing. Now, the reason why I wanted to repeat that is I think it's important as we talk about the point guard position, where a lot of teams tend to run their shooting guard at the point guard position. So I think having a tall point guard also might help negate some of that. So we potentially could see a run on a LaMelo Ball type point guard arc. Real quick, Dalton, C-Web, Aaron, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be some demons in the CSBA with this build here. This is like one of the most flashiest and elite players, especially in the NBA. So I'm really curious to see how it translates over to 2K.
C-Web?
Yeah, definitely excited to see this. I think I basically kind of spoke out of turn, but this and the DeRozan arc both going to kind of change the way some of the offenses are built around the league for sure.
Aaron?
Well, I'm certainly glad that I don't have a point guard in this league anymore, because anybody running this archetype, especially if you're on the shorter side at point, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare to try and defend against as a player.
Yeah, it's exciting, and like I said, I think bringing. I mean, the one con he's got some cons, his defense and his speed, but hopefully he'll be that playmaking shot creator that we covet in the CSBA. So I'm excited to see LaMelo. I think the one thing, and I apologize, guys, for saying that out of order, and I probably teed C-Web up incorrectly when I said point guard to start, so that's my bad. But yeah, I'm excited. LaMelo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, and our last arc that we're going to release here tonight. And again, we're going to release 15 this new season, 3 at each position, but the other one we're going to bring is Mr. Superman himself, Dwight Howard.
They're talking about bringing a future Hall of Famer build into the league, so you're going to see a lot more dominance. I mean, I feel like the CSBA is already really, really good at the bigs, in the front court. So adding this archetype is going to be scary for sure.
C-Web?
Yeah, this is kind of wish I had this guy when we were playing against Seymour, but athletic defensive center. We might see a center in the dunk contest again. Who knows? This would definitely be a good arc for that, I think.
Aaron?
Well, yeah, this is certainly, as a new center prospect, this is definitely a tempting one to potentially switch to. Especially as a kind of a down low finisher, which we do have some of already, but having an arc kind of dedicated to that particular play style.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about the Dwight Howard one is, this is when he was younger. This is when he was extremely athletic. He was putting up some monster numbers. I don't think we have an arc like this across the CSBA right now at the center position. So while a little undersized, I think that speed is going to come into play. Because don't forget, we got right now you got players like KP, you got players like the Shaq arcs. Those guys, they're definitely tall, but they're not as fast. And I think Dwight Howard will help offset the height aspect of it. So I'm interested to see how that plays out against what we currently have. Again, we're testing this out in the off season, in between seasons, just to make sure that these guys are good. But I know Connor has gotten a jump start on these during the regular season this year. So I'm excited for those guys. Again, if you're just joining us, DeMar DeRozan at the small forward, LaMelo Ball, and Dwight Howard, as you just saw there, coming next season as archetype options. So we're excited about that. All right, guys, let's jump into the national championship game because we want to make sure we get that off on time as slated at 9:30. But let's talk a little bit about the starting lineups here really quickly. We'll throw those out here. So starting for the Miami Hurricanes at the point guard, it's going to be Anthony Delano. At the shooting guard, Melo Harris. At the small forward, they're going to go with Jacob Black. At the power forward, Seymour Butts. And at this center, Amari Diallo. And there is your bench. God, I sat here and made changes, and I still didn't change the coach. Sorry about that, Connor. Anyway, guys, real quick, just looking at this lineup, the one thing that stands out to me, no Sleepy Blaylock at the small forward. They're throwing out Jacob Black at the small forward, so a little bit of a chess match there for Miami. And before we let's jump over to the Illinois side. Starting at the point guard position is going to be Duke Derringer. Gage Ziegler coming in at the shooting guard. Kieri Prince at small forward. Ricky Rowe at the 4. And starting again, Guillermo Ochoa. So guys, just taking a look at those lineups, it looks like Miami made some changes within their lineup. They moved Jacob Black into the starting lineup, moving Sleepy Blaylock out. My guess is that move by Connor was probably done to potentially D up Terry M'Baku off the bench, who had a really good game. But let's get your takes, guys, really quickly before we get into the keys of the game. What's your thoughts on both lineups? Dalton, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, Miami's worked. This is a team that put up 91 points against Iowa and only allowed 59. So, I mean, why not, why fix something that's not broke? So interesting to see how they match up against Illinois, though, because Illinois' top two guys didn't really perform the way that they, a lot of people had expected them to. I mean, Ricky Rowe only had 13. Granted, he didn't even shoot that bad. He shot 6 for 13, which is just below 50%. So it's really not that bad. But Derringer only had 5 points, 1 for 6. So you're probably not going to get another performance like that from him. So it's going to be interesting to see how Miami can respond whenever Rowe and Derringer are hitting.
Yeah, those two guys definitely struggled in the game against Texas Tech. Rowe, I think, came on a little bit late, but Derringer certainly did. They were lucky enough to get strong performances from Terry M'Baku off the bench, which I think is a big reason why the Illini were able to best Texas Tech there. Webb, though, what's your thoughts, just really quickly looking at the lineups?
Yeah, I mean, really interesting play by Miami. Definitely going with a bit of a defensive matchup there with putting Jacob Black at the small forward. I definitely see what they're trying to do. On the Illinois side, sticking with what's been working, hopefully they get Ricky Rowe away from Seymour Butts in that lineup. Talk more about that later. Also, I'm excited to see Derringer against Delano. That's going to be an all-star matchup as well. I think maybe a little overlooked by a lot of people.
Aaron, what's your take?
Yeah, I definitely think that putting Blaylock on the bench to kind of strengthen that bench unit defensively, especially with the likes of Terry M'Baku, definitely the right call for Miami. All the other matchups pretty much as expected. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see once tip-off happens where everything falls.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, when I was just looking at it before, as we were putting the keys to the game, I was like, that's an interesting move because so far this season, I don't think there's been anybody that has really locked up Terry M'Baku, but if there's a guy that could do it, I think a Sleepy Blaylock type is definitely somebody that can do that. So, coming into this game, I know for me personally as a coach, I've always played to my strengths. It looks like Illinois is playing to their strengths and what has carried them to this point with running a very similar roster lineup to what we've seen them run all season long as well as into the postseason. So Baku has pretty much come off the bench for Illinois all season, but I know Miami has has run all sorts of different lineups throughout the season. It'd be interesting to see how that one plays out. Let's talk a little bit about the keys to the game. Csba, I'm going to start with you. Take us through the Illinois side, and then we'll let Aaron bring us through the Miami side.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest things for Illinois is obviously getting Ricky Rowe open, getting him away from Seymour Butts. They're gonna need to create a lot of motion, maybe get him moving off some screens, rely on maybe Miami coming out to double Derringer or something if he gets hot, and then try and get him open underneath. And second key, play from out front. This is something we harped on in the last one. Illinois is an offensive team. They win their games by putting up a lot of points and making the other team try to run to catch up. So if they can get out in front and lead at the half, I think they've got a really good shot at taking this one home tonight. If not, it could be tough for them to catch up. And the third one, with no bad shots, look, Miami's a great rebounding team. And if Illinois can take high percentage looks and don't take contested threes, you need to force open threes. Don't take anything that you're not going to get a high percentage look from, because Miami's going to grab that rebound and turn it around the other way. So if Illinois can get their shooters going inside, especially Rowe and Baku, those guys, have them driving to the hoop, and that's how Illinois is going to win this game tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Dalton, real quickly, just going to ask you on the keys to the game here. You have a bunch of Illinois runs three bigs. You see, Ochoa had a phenomenal game for the Illini last on Monday night. C-Web's talking about that the key here is getting and grabbing a lot of rebounds. Can the Illini do that here tonight with running the three bigs?
Yeah, everything is going to boil down to shot percentage. So the first game that we saw with Illinois, it was literally a horrible start, and both teams were missing, but Illinois did come away with the rebounds majority, which inevitably got them the position to win the game. But Illinois is more than capable. Guillermo really stepped up. It's not out of the it's not like the craziest thing to assume that he could have another game like that. And Ricky Rowe, we're forgetting that he didn't even play to what we see him averagely play. So who's to say Ricky Rowe is not going to step up and play even above what we expect from him? So they're more than capable. The front court for Illinois is really, really talented.
Yeah, Aaron, talk to me a little bit about the keys to the game here for Miami.
Yeah, so for the Hurricanes, their biggest strength is Seymour Butts. If the Hurricanes are able to get Seymour Butts with a hot hand and a hot hand early on, Miami, for the most part, especially if they get a pretty substantial lead over the Illini, can basically just put it on cruise control at that point to the national title. The second key, which we saw a plenty in their game against Iowa, was defense. These Hurricanes allow roughly 20 points less per game this season than the Illini have. So, keep it clean. Don't get a bunch of unforced turnovers or any sloppy possessions, and the Illini will have a tough time really getting around this Hurricane team. And the last one, which we kind of clued in on with the first key for the Illini, is containing Ricky Rowe. Ricky Rowe is Illinois. With almost 19 points and 6 rebounds a game. If Ricky Rowe is having an off night, that usually means that the rest of the Illini are having an off night. So if Miami's able to limit what Rowe is able to contribute through all 4 quarters, then the Hurricanes will have full control of the game. But especially in this tournament, Rowe has been so hard to really contain like that. Nobody's been able to do it so far, and we'll have to see tonight if Butts is up to that task defensively.
Yeah, for sure. Dawn, I'm going to come back to you on your take there. Really quickly, just kind of what Aaron talked a little bit about. Obviously, getting Seymour Butts going, and then obviously containing Ricky Rowe. Those two guys are matched up against one another in this game, both at the 4 position in the starting lineup. If you're looking at that right now, and just I'd be curious to know your thoughts on that matchup alone, because that is a premier matchup in this game.
Yeah, everybody's looking at this matchup and thinking this may be game of the year. Just off that matchup alone, we're talking about a guy that is arguably the best player in the league versus a guy that has been arguably one of the best players in the entire tournament. And even going back to the conference tournaments where Butts had just tremendous performances. So I mean, yeah, this may be the matchup of the year if we're going to talk about the players themselves. Obviously, it being the national championship, it feels like a cop out to call it the game of the year. But seriously, this game really can match up to some of the best ones of the entire season. And that's what we're all hoping for. And this matchup should, I don't want to, barring any.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
Yeah, but I won't even finish my sentence. But everybody knows what I was gonna say.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go back to the panel here, guys. We've got about 24 minutes till tip off. Let's just go really quickly, rapid fire around the room. Who is going to be your player of the game, and who is going to be your pick to win the national championship game? Dalton will start. Well, actually, you know what? We'll go reverse this time. I'll get Aaron go first. Let's go, Aaron.
So,
Putting you on the spot, buddy.
You are.
We didn't talk. By the way, we didn't talk about any of this prior to this.
There's definitely caveats to both of these statements. But I think player of the game is going to end up being Ricky Rowe. And because of that, I think Illinois is going to come away with the national title.
Wow. Okay. C-Web, what you got? Bring us down, buddy.
All right. So I actually think the player of the game is going to end up being Terry M'Baku. It's clear that Miami may be concerned about him coming off the bench. They shifted their lineup to possibly focus on him. So I'm saying he's going to be the one that gets it done. I think he's going to be player of the game, and I think he might lead Illinois to a victory.
Follow-up question there, C-Web. By doing that and moving Blaylock to the bench, does that put a chink in the armor for Miami's starters? I mean, because you got Kiri Prince there. I don't think that Prince hasn't played phenomenal. Is that something that tips the scales in Miami's favor, or the opposite?
I don't know. That one's really hard to call because he hasn't started all year, to my knowledge. So, what's he going to do as a starter? Is it going to be a chink in the armor? I don't really know. Defensively, it could be. That's really hard to say. I don't think it's going to be. I don't defensively at least, but it could be a hiccup in the offense. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Black has done a really nice job this season for Miami. He's stepped up, but I think if memory serves me correctly, he's come off the bench a lot more than he's started. So, be curious to see how that works out. Dalton, give me your take, buddy. Who's your pick to win this thing? Who's your player of the game?
I'm telling you right now, the senior from Miami is going to win them a chip tonight. Anthony Delano, mark my words, is going to have 20 tonight. He's going to come away with a 20-point game, lead his team, and go out the right way, and get Miami the chip before he sells off.
So you kind of stole my thunder. As much as I'm rooting for the Illini for obvious reasons.
I was about to say, you're
obvious reasons, but I'm actually going with Miami, and I'm also going to go with Anthony Delano as the player of the game. I think Derringer's going to have a difficult time staying with him from a speed perspective. Derringer's a good player in his own right, but I think that matchup to me goes to Delano, and Delano's athletic ability. We've seen him go off at many points, and I think he did a really great job against Iowa. I see Miami winning. I also see Delano as being a key factor in that win. So the panel is split. Hopefully that means the game is going to come down to a last-second shot. Maybe someone comes away with a natty, although, I'm sure both coaches are probably going to want to blow out just so that they don't have to worry about having the defibrillators, close by their side or the oxygen. So, but appreciate everybody. Got 100 and something in the stream. Appreciate some new follows and thank you all for hanging out with us. Before we head off here, guys, just really quickly, any parting words on tonight's game? Anything that you think we need to maybe just a special shout out, like, hey, look for this, look for that. Like, give me your take real quick. Dalton, go first.
Enjoy the moment. I will say that it's very hard to get to this point if you're anybody in the league. So enjoy this moment, win or lose. You made it here. It's a very tough path to get to, and heading into season 8, you got a lot of recruits, you got a lot of rumors in the transfer portal. It's a chance to really get better, but nonetheless, enjoy the moment tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point. 32 teams that were in the tournament out of 36, only one gets to win the national championship game. It says something, but to get here, I mean, even when we go back to the Final Four, those teams that got there, that is a huge accomplishment. So, C-Web?
You know what? My shout-out's going to go to my dark horse player of the game, possibly Guillermo Ochoa. I looked at the lineup and I said, you know what? His defense could be the difference against Miami starters, so shout out to him. I know he's one of the big supporters of the Illini this season, so I think that's your dark horse pick.
Aaron?
Yeah, me and C-Web clearly thinking on the same wavelength, because I was also just thinking Ochoa, especially with the offense he put up against Texas Tech, combined with his defensive prowess, could definitely be a kind of sneaky dark horse pick in there as player of the game. But to the entirety of both Miami and Illinois' locker rooms, it's been a long season, but you're here. This is your time. Win or lose, nothing's going to take away the fact that you made it to this point. Both teams have had their ups and downs all season long, but this is the end all be all, and regardless of outcome, y'all can hold your heads high that you made it to this point.
Yeah, I think you guys have all said some really amazing things here tonight, and this is a culmination of a long season. We just want to remind you guys, and just have fun with the moment. It doesn't come often. There's not a lot of opportunity. I mean, I know in some of the locker rooms I've seen guys that don't talk a lot, are super jazzed but super nervous for this. Enjoy it, because like I said, 36 teams. It's hard to climb this mountain and come away with a championship. So we're going to have a first-time winner here tonight, whether that's the Illini or the Hurricanes. So I'm pumped for that. That's coming up here, guys, at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. 3 versus 2. Again, second season in a row. We have not seen a number 1 seed get to this game. We're going to have the 3rd seed and the 2 seed to go again here tonight at 9:30. Before we head off for the night, just thank you again for your support. Phenomenal season. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see who's able to come away with their first national championship for the fellas here. We will catch you guys in about 15 minutes. We're going to hit you up with really quickly that promo that we saw that Pax put together that was amazing. And we'll sign off and we'll be back on in about 15 minutes. So here you go, guys. We'll see you guys in 15. CSBA out. National championship game coming up next.